Welcome to the Let's Eat Grandma Career Warrior Podcast.
I think the number one thing that I hear from clients is I stayed too long. And that has lots of implications. One, the time. You cannot make more time. You can't get that time back. And two, you've added to this trajectory in your career that maybe you don't want to continue. And you could have been using that time to really pursue the thing that you enjoy. Or for some people, it's that time that they didn't get to pursue their calling, the thing that they were really put on the earth to do, to pursue their purpose, to give to others, to serve others. And instead they spent time doing things that really weren't suited to them. And there's no way to grab that time back. And I think there's the hopefulness of that is if you're feeling it, just know it's absolutely normal. And it's a signal. It's like a hunger pain almost, to let you know, hey, it's time. Don't fight me. Don't resist. It is time. I had an amazing client, Julie, who loved her company. I mean, she loved her boss. She loved the people that she worked with. And she had been there nearly 20 years, but she was fully burnt out. She had reached the peak of burnout. It's you'll know it when you do these kinds of things. You stop taking vacations. Your friends and family are missing you or comment regularly on how stressed out you seem. Or you stop doing the things that you really love, like you used to run or play tennis or brunch with your girlfriends. And suddenly you're never available for brunch. And if you've said to yourself, for 2 months straight, oh, this will be over soon. For my client, Julie, she had the classic case of being the best performer. And it's always easy for a manager to lean on their best performers to get these miscellaneous things done, right? So Julie would be the first stop for any kind of catch-all miscellaneous challenge. Oh, hey, Julie, can you take a look at this project plan? Can you go over these numbers? Can you talk to so-and-so in finance about what's happening with the shipping of these things? She seemed to be the dumping ground for miscellaneous work.
Sure.
And it had really gotten to the point where she didn't know how to stop being that person.
Sorry to interrupt there, but is the tagline miscellaneous work, or can it be just the work that you were kind of like your department?
I think it can be both. I think for the most part, the burnout really generates around just doing more than your general workload. So if you're finding that 60 hours a week is sort of your norm, this is a problem. Simple tricks to kind of help with burnout. Everybody kind of defaults to meditation or quiet time, reading. I think the simplest way is to start with gratitude, because it sounds like a lot like the position you were in. You were loving the work. You were excited about what you were doing.
Right.
And those things you can be grateful for. And then sort of stepping back and saying, the other pieces of it might be something I want to work on, and choosing one thing, keeping it small, and starting with something easy, like I'm going to start the day with saying no to 3 people. That is my mission by the end of the day. When I'm randomly asked for things, I'm going to try to say, no, I can't do it today. I think the classic sign is you have a lot of free time.
Okay. So a lot of free time.
A lot of free time. I remember in my first job, I was able to get basically what I had been tasked with done in the first 2 hours of my day. And I would spend the remainder of the 6 hours of my day watching the clock. I could only do that for so long because if any of you have taken the Strengths Finders assessment, achievement is one of my top strengths, and I have to get something done every day. So I needed more. For me, that looked like taking advantage of online training. And I would even recommend for you that you look into something like the free courses on Udemy or Coursera or the other platforms. You can actually bust out a certification. If you're in a downtime where you're really bored, think about like the future skills that you need and take advantage of that time. Use it productively. The other thing I think is to, in terms of trying to turn boredom around, is to really watch and listen what's happening in your office. What are the other projects that are going on? And this will be a little harder now that most of us are remote, but you can have some kind of informal conversations with people offline. Hey, what are you working on? Oh, that sounds exciting. I might like to be a part of that. Do you think it would be okay for me to ask to take on this role and maybe be responsible for this piece of that project? And that is definitely a conversation to have with a boss. If you've ever cried in the ladies' room, hidden in a stairwell, or went to lunch and didn't come back, those are all bad boss moments. You know it's really bad. Also, if you have the Sunday scaries. So if Sunday about 4 or 5 o'clock, you start to worry, you have this anxious feeling about work beginning on Monday, that's a huge sign that you probably have a bad boss.
So like that dread, that feeling of, I really, really don't want to.
Don't make me, I don't want to go.
Yeah. And so is it, I mean, this is kind of like turning to like a boss's fault thing, but is it like a management thing? Is it the way that people are managing you?
Performance management is one of the great mysteries of the corporate world. Very few people do it well. And I think it is the number one reason that we have bad bosses. They most likely know that they're bad, and the manager above them either doesn't care because they get the work done, or is totally unaware because they're not seeing maybe high turnover. So people don't routinely leave this boss. And you might be stuck in a situation where you kind of have to wait it out. You have to do your time. And this is the only place you can do that. And those situations are miserable. I think we spoke about earlier, this idea of having a candid conversation with a boss. And there are two things I really want to hammer home here. One, before you bring your beautiful concern, your heartfelt wishes for change to this person, take a minute and see how they receive feedback from others. If they are constantly defensive, or when the conversation turns to opportunities to improve, they become offensive. We don't have time for that. How would I get that done?
Right.
Take note of those moments. This is not someone who is going to receive your heartfelt concerns in the way that you want to offer them. And that may lead you to take some other actions. On the other hand, you may be one of the few who has a boss who maybe is in an understanding period of, perhaps they want to be a leader and they're getting some executive coaching. This is a great opportunity to have that candid conversation with them and bring in examples of ways that you have felt either unheard or haven't received feedback timely. Be very specific and give them examples of things that you didn't like or want done differently, and then allow them an opportunity to respond. This is another one of those instances of stayed too long.
Sure.
You've
and it
heard,
ties back to burnout in a way.
Absolutely.
Related. Yeah.
You've heard the sirens. You know that this is not getting better. And if your friends and family are saying to you, you've got to get out of there, I know I have a friend right now who has been in a dreadful situation for over a year, and sort of the pandemic hit, and now she's kind of paralyzed with,
Yeah.
well, there's no way I'm going to get a job during the pandemic.
Right.
And it's like, this might actually be the best time, because
Sure.
I think, like a lot of people, a lot of companies are saying, oh, wow, we could really be doing this better, or that plan to take on digitizing X, Y, and Z that was outset for 2 or 3 years is today.
Now. Yeah.
There's no wait time. And they might be looking for someone just like you. So I wouldn't let that stop you. And I would definitely say, it's already been too long. It's kind of like what do they say about thirst? The minute you realize that you're thirsty, you're dehydrated, it's too late. You should have been hydrating all along. So you know it's time. You know in your gut. And the people who love you the most and care about you have probably said to you more than once, you got to get out of there.